We have officially reached that point.
The Indiana Fever don't want Caitlin to be Caitlin.
Why the double standard? Fire her. Damn. Fire her ass.
Those were the kind of questions media was asking.
Fever coach fired after grabbing Caitlin Clark. WNBA faces major backlash. The Indiana Fever are at the center of a firestorm, and it all exploded after a jaw-dropping moment involving their biggest star, Caitlin Clark. The team has officially fired their assistant coach after she was caught on camera physically grabbing Clark during a game in June 2025. What first looked like a tense sideline exchange has now triggered a full-blown crisis across the WNBA. That clip circulating like wildfire across social media sparked outrage. But the real story runs far deeper than just a single incident. This wasn't just about losing composure. According to multiple insiders, it was the final straw in a months-long power struggle behind the scenes. Sources close to the situation suggest that Clark has faced repeated efforts by the Fever organization to tone her down, limit her influence, and mold her image to fit the team's agenda. What was supposed to be a historic rookie season has now turned into a controversy. Fans aren't staying silent. They're demanding answers not just about the coach's behavior, but about the pressure being placed on the league's biggest name. It all boiled over during a lopsided win against the Connecticut Sun. Clark had just drained a deep three-pointer and was hyping up the crowd when she headed to the bench. But instead of being met with celebration, her coach reached out and forcefully yanked her by the arm on national TV. That moment has become a symbol of something bigger. The battle for control over one of basketball's most powerful rising voices. Now, with the assistant coach removed and public pressure building, the WNBA faces a pivotal moment. But will the league protect its stars or continue down a path that many now see as silencing them? It was supposed to be a feel-good moment. The Indiana Fever were cruising with a 20-point lead over the Connecticut Sun. Caitlin Clark had just nailed a signature step-back three over J.C. Sheldon, sending the crowd into a frenzy. As she made her way to the bench, riding the wave of energy, what happened next stunned everyone. Instead of cheers or high-fives, Clark was met with tension. The assistant coach reached out and grabbed her by the arm, cutting straight through the moment. No encouragement, no praise, just a jarring physical pull that left fans and commentators asking what just happened.
It's completely unacceptable. It is completely unacceptable.
One of the assistant coaches chasing Caitlin Clark down as she's riling up the crowd. And it seems like she's getting scolded, reprimanded.
From that point forward, something shifted. Caitlin Clark never checked back into the game and, even more noticeably, she didn't look like the same player afterward. The trademark fire in her eyes, that edge and emotion that defined her game, seemed to vanish overnight. In the games that followed, especially the matchup against the Valkyries, Clark appeared off. The energy that once fueled her every move was gone. Instead of her usual fierce presence, fans saw someone who looked distant, mechanical, almost defeated. And it wasn't just a fan reaction. Former players, analysts, and broadcasters all picked up on it. Her body language was flat. Her interviews felt subdued. It was as if we were watching one of the brightest stars in basketball slowly lose her spark, right before our eyes.
For the past 3 games, it is very clear that Caitlin Clark is not feeling like Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has always thrived on emotion. That's when I'm at my best, she told reporters after her breakout performance against the Liberty. The crowd, the energy, the pressure she feeds off it all. That's her fuel. Her college coach, Lisa Bluter, understood this better than anyone. She didn't try to contain Clark's emotion, she leaned into it, and it paid off. Clark became the most watched athlete in the history of women's college sports, turning every game into must-see TV. But in the pros, things changed. The Fever didn't see her emotion as a weapon, they saw it as a problem. Instead of embracing her fire, they tried to manage it, tame it, and reshape the very thing that made her electric.
Fan of what they're trying to do to Caitlin Clark, and I fully believe they're trying to diminish, they're trying to dim the flow.
This was never just about a coach grabbing her arm. That moment was just the surface crack, a sign of something much deeper. Behind the scenes, it was part of a larger, more deliberate effort by the Indiana Fever to reshape Caitlin Clark into someone she's not. They didn't want the fiery competitor who plays with heart on her sleeve. They wanted someone polished, controlled, a player who smiles when told, stays quiet in the spotlight, and only takes those deep logo threes when it fits their system. In short, they weren't trying to support a generational talent. They were trying to package her as a brand, not let her thrive as a competitor.
Absolutely. Beat the crap out of each other.
Caitlin tried to play along. She adapted. She toned it down. But it didn't feel right, and it showed. After that game, her shot attempts noticeably dipped. Her minutes became unpredictable, and while the box score still showed solid numbers, something was missing. Her presence, the energy that once electrified every arena, was fading. She didn't look like the leader of the team anymore. She looked like a passenger, going through the motions on a team that once revolved around her fire.
Performance on the court that was worrying fans. It was also just her demeanor, her energy. It felt like something was wrong. She wasn't hyping up the crowd like she normally does.
And by the way, from this moment on, we hardly saw anything. From this moment on, the emotion was gone from Caitlin.
Then came the issue with the officiating. In that same game against Connecticut, Clark was poked in the eye and shoved to the floor. Not a single whistle blew. The WNBA later admitted the referees had lost control and missed crucial calls. But even with that admission, there were no suspensions, no real accountability, and this wasn't an isolated incident. Clark has taken multiple hard hits this season, at least 5 flagrant or technical fouls, often from players known for their physical style. Yet the league's response has been minimal at best, non-existent at worst. Even more alarming, reports surfaced that referees warned Clark she could be given a technical foul just for hyping up the crowd. The very thing that made her a fan favorite in the first place. Let that sink in. The WNBA's biggest attraction was being threatened, with punishment for energizing the arena, for doing what she does best, bringing the game to life.
The problem that a lot of us have with the referees is it's either very physical and they're calling everything, or they're missing calls.
At some point, it became clear this wasn't just mismanagement, it felt like sabotage. From the bench to the front office, there seemed to be a coordinated effort to diminish Caitlin Clark's impact. The very qualities that made her a sensation, her fire, her swagger, her command of the game, being celebrated, they were being suppressed. The Fever didn't seem to want the real, raw version of Clark. They wanted something safer, more packaged, more predictable version that fit neatly into a marketing campaign, not the one who filled arenas and broke barriers.
You don't really get to be a dog and get to that platform where you get to bring a national title, the first one back to LSU, without having that type of mentality, that chip on your shoulder. And I feel like we have to let these young women be unapologetically themselves.
Here's the truth. Caitlin Clark was never meant to be squeaky clean, and she never claimed to be. She's fierce, competitive, unapologetic, she talks trash. She flops. She battles for every single possession. That edge, that emotion, that's what sets her apart. She's not trying to be perfect. She's trying to be great like Kobe, great like Jordan. And greatness isn't polished. It's raw, it's gritty, and it refuses to be tamed. That's what the Fever didn't understand. Trying to smooth out her edges was their biggest mistake, and now it's blown up in their faces. The coach is out fired just weeks after the incident that set the internet on fire. The team tried to spin it as a difference in direction, but no one's buying it. The truth was obvious. The video went viral. Fans were outraged. Commentators across the league torched the front office for how things were handled. And through it all, Caitlin Clark never lashed out publicly. She didn't need to. Her silence said more than words ever.
If a coach did this to any other player in the league, they'd be fired.
This wasn't just a firing. It was a reckoning, a loud, unavoidable message. You can't draft the most electrifying athlete in the game and then try to dim her light. You don't get to silence a player whose entire identity is rooted in breaking boundaries, not following them. Caitlin Clark wasn't built to fit inside a system. She was built to change it.
You cannot try to turn a player who plays off emotion into a robot. It's not going to work.
Caitlin Clark isn't a brand to be managed, a force to be unleashed. If the Indiana Fever want to win, and if the WNBA truly wants to grow, they need to stop treating her like a problem to contain, and start recognizing her for what she is, the future of the game. Let's be clear, this wasn't just a coach making a mistake. This ran deep. You don't just walk up and grab a player mid-game like that. That's not just bad judgment, a symptom of something way bigger, because once you start pulling on the thread of Caitlin Clark getting yanked in the middle of a game, it doesn't stop at the sideline. It unravels an entire operation behind the scenes, one that's been quietly working to remake Clark from the ground up, and not in a good way. This wasn't about growth, it was about control, and the more you look, the more it starts to feel like the call wasn't coming from the coach. It was coming from inside the house.
Out with injury, that the WNBA does better when she is on the court. The WNBA ratings across the league dropped by over 50% when Caitlin Clark was out with injury, and this is obviously such a crucial time and a crucial year.
Here's the problem. Caitlin Clark was never built to blend in. She's not a piece in someone else's system. She is the system. And deep down, she knew it. You could hear it in her interviews. Those subtle hints she dropped. Phrases like, "They're trying to stop me from doing what I do best." That wasn't just frustration, it was a warning shot. The greatest show in women's basketball was being asked to turn down the volume. Maybe hold back the emotion. Maybe stop leading with fire. Maybe just play it safe. But that's not who Caitlin Clark is. And trying to make her play small, that was never going to end well.
You can't just grab a player. Like, I'm sorry, you can't just, the player's walking back, you can't just grab a player.
This was never really about basketball fundamentals. It was about image control. Behind the scenes, rumors were already swirling whispers that the Fever were facing pressure. Not just from within the organization, but maybe even from the league itself. They tried to turn the most electric, passionate, headline-driving player in the league into the EHBMB's version of a well-behaved prom queen.